directly the concept of waste elimination.
I believe you create a pool, and then you have to really...
My topic is engagement throughout the lean enterprise. And my guest is Mark Preston. He is Global Lean Leader with Lean Applications. Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
Lean is one of those perennial topics that never gets off the list, off the agenda of important things to talk about. What do you see as some of the key factors that are involved in creating a culture of excellence in companies from a lean perspective today?
Companies are all about their people, and I believe engagement of people is probably the number one thing for an enterprise, as well as engaging them in how to see waste. So learning to see would definitely be a key thing to improve in companies, and learning to see can take many roles, but you need to be on the ground level so that people really understand what waste looks like. And so some of the things that I work with in companies is how do you see waste in a fun and engaging way. And also the other one is creation of pull, engagement of people, and how people see waste. One of the fun activities that we've done in several of the programs that I've worked with is called going on a rattlesnake hunt. And this is a lot of fun for executives all the way through to operators and other technicians, anyone in the organization. So a rattlesnake is, and being here in the desert, it kind of is appropriate. But going on a rattlesnake hunt means if you see a rattlesnake, it might bite you. If you hear a rattlesnake, it might bite you. But if you're around rattlesnakes long enough, they'll bite you. So what I mean by this is in companies, you have waste in companies. It might be a safety hazard, which causes a whole nother cultural issue. It might be a maintenance issue through they don't have total preventative maintenance. It could be a 5S issue, which is organizational, or how do they clean up the factory. So all of these things are rattlesnakes. And it could be just something that's not world class. A lot of times you'll find somebody wrote pencils on a cardboard box and put pencils in it. Well, you wouldn't find that in a world class company, and that would be a rattlesnake.
Well, it's interesting you talk about seeing waste. Are we talking about from the standpoint of just common sense? You're expecting your employees to know what waste looks like, or are you giving them a definition of what waste is based on classic lean principles that define it rather strictly?
Well, you do that also, but you have them really identify with it, and that's what the gap is, I think, in a lot of the companies today. They hear the calculus equation of lean in the educational system. But how do you really apply that in an engaging way so they can really see what you're talking about? And using the 8 wastes and really looking at the 8 wastes in a company, it really develops them. So when I talk about an exercise like the rattlesnake hunt, we actually get 3 teams of 5 people with digital cameras each and a conference room wall. And I give them 3 hours to go out and take pictures of rattlesnakes in their area that they've been assigned. So they'll usually come back with about 80 each team. And even in some of the cleanest environments, they'll find things that need to be improved in the plant.
So where are they going? They're going to a manufacturing line?
Could be a distribution center, could be a manufacturing area, could be an office area. I've seen it in every area.
Yeah, I would think it's some of the process-oriented situations, like in an office, I would imagine it'd be a little harder to spot than if you're looking at a physical production line or a physical distribution operation.
Definitely, but it's fun to cross-represent the teams as well, to have some office people out on the floor looking and seeing, walking in the gemba, understanding the process more, but also doing some activities with the people on the floor that do it every day.
How do you follow up? Do you have some kind of recognition for those employees following the rattlesnake hunt? Is there any sort of fun thing you do afterwards that kind of brings closure to the whole exercise?
Well, when they come and they'll print out the pictures and put them on their wall, and then the leader of the facility will judge the biggest rattlesnake or the most rattlesnakes, and those teams get candy bars. And it doesn't have to be much, but it's that competitive feel on how you're improving your own facility. And then they have 3 days to kill as many rattlesnakes as they can, which means take the after picture of the problem being corrected and putting it up next to the before picture. And then that team gets lunch of their choice the next day. So, lean can be fun. If you do this once a month, the next month you do it with teams, you have to draw names because everybody wants to do it. And you'll find people bringing you over to where their area, even if they aren't on a team, to really show you what they want fixed. And so, that engagement creates pull, not just material pull, but pull for wanting to know more about
Yeah.
elimination of waste.
And the repetitive nature of the exercise ensures that people aren't falling back into old bad habits once they've so-called fixed a waste problem, right?
Exactly. And this is just one element of engagement. That's just a fun element of engagement. There's so much more in the lean world to continuously improve, but also sustain the gains. And so that's what we try to instill in the facilities that we work with.
One of the words that gets bandied about all the time in supply chain management is pull. Everybody talks about a pull supply chain versus a push supply chain. What does that word mean to you, and how can that be translated into, like, right there in the trenches kind of improvement in your operation?
I had many lean senseis in my career. I was very blessed in my 20s, and one of my best sensei was Mr. Niwa. And
I'm sorry, what was his name?
Mr. Niwa from Shingijutsu.
Okay.
And he was one of the best explaining supply chain. I think in the 70s I wore a gold chain, or 80s I wore a gold chain around my neck. I was the cool person. If you take that chain off of your neck and you put it on a table and you pull that chain, it stays in a straight line, there's clear direction, there's no problems with that pull. But what happens if you push the chain? If you push the chain, it bunches up into different areas. I want you to think of that supply chain as waste in the supply chain, and how pull creates that straight line without waste. And so, in my opinion, when you think of supply chain, you're thinking of pull, clear direction, elimination of waste from the customer, which is the number one lean principle, is value in the eyes of the customer, really creating that pull all the way back through distribution, all the way back through manufacturing, back through their suppliers and their supplier's supplier. So if you really think of that as a chain, and you're pulling that chain, it stays in a straight line. If it starts being pushed, then it's going to bunch up in different areas. You're going to find waste.
So are you tying together directly the concept of waste elimination with the creation of a pull supply chain, or is it the other way around? When you orient yourself toward a pull supply chain, the waste becomes evident. What comes first?
I believe if you create a pull, then you have to really analyze the value stream or the chain itself to really understand where the waste is in that pull, because you can always improve. Most world-class companies will say that they're only on the first level of improvement because they get it. There's always something to improve, something to eliminate waste, to really create better pull throughout the organization. In some automotive companies now, the suppliers are actually inside the same building as the automotive company. They've eliminated a ton of waste throughout that entire lead time, and actually improve the whole efficiency of the chain itself.
So waste and pull really do go hand in hand.
They do.
Yeah. Well, this whole idea of a culture of excellence, that can be maddeningly vague sometimes. It sounds like a great goal to go toward, but then a company says, well, where do I even start? So what's the first step or early steps on that path, in your opinion?
To start excellence, it needs to be a huge communication and marketing understanding. Communication is a big thing in all organizations. People say people are afraid of change. I don't believe that. Mick Wills is one of my best friends, that their team won the AME Excellence Award last year, and he says it best. People aren't afraid of change, they're afraid of uncertainty. So if they can see a vision of their leaders from all levels of the organization, and it's communicated more effectively, then they aren't as afraid of change. They're understanding things, how things are going. They may be apprehensive, but they have more of a vision like the top leadership does.
Yeah, but people are creatures of habit, though, and they like the way that they've been doing things up to a certain point, and sometimes it is hard to shake them out of that whole mindset, is it not?
It is. It is. We are all creatures of habit, but as you explain it and people understand that it's going to be better in the future, then they kind of come on board. One of the examples is a Lego layout. At one of the facilities we work with, SureSeal, we actually got a ping pong table and laid out the entire facility in Legos, down to the people, the trash cans, the machines. Everything in the facility was laid out on a ping pong table to scale in Legos. And talking about how important that was on communicating the vision, it was extremely important. Especially we had all the teams come and put how they could improve their area, so they were engaged in the process. And once they did that, then we laid out the future state on top of it, on top of plexiglass on top, so they could see what the future state was and understand where the facility was going.
Are you recommending a formal series of regular meetings that cut across functional silos in which all these different people from an organization get together and communicate in person, or is communication more of an ongoing thing through information transfer, or is it both?
I think there's different modalities of learning, so you have to teach them and communicate in many different ways. You have to explain in posters of your training in the lunchroom. You have to explain in newsletters. You have to do a town hall meeting with the executives to really understand, to really communicate that vision and really drive it down throughout the organization. It takes so many forms, and you can't do enough. I mean, quick reference guides. I almost believe everybody has a little bit of ADD. Whether you have ADD or not, you have a little bit of ADD, and you forget things quickly.
Yeah.
So whether it be put the 8 wastes on a little card next to your time badge, so you remember what the 8 wastes are when you walk around, so it's always, you know, something you can reflect, or create a playbook of some type to really drive all the training decks. So I can pull a playbook of our training and look at it very quickly, or look at it online and see something. But I think you can't stop improving that communication feed to all the employees, everyone.
The "you can't stop" thing has to be important because you have to follow up and continue this exercise.
That's right.
Forever.
Exactly.
With top management giving you a feeling of consistency in the program and not introducing like new fad-like concepts every 6 months. We were doing it this way, now we're going to do it this way because it's more fun or different. Yeah, I guess you got to be careful about that too.
Oh, you do, and it is all about whatever you implement. It's the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I believe whether you want to lose weight and go to the gym, it's that pain of discipline. Whether you want to implement change throughout an organization, it's the pain of discipline. How disciplined are you to see it through, all the way through, and then start on the next phase of the journey.
Very wise words. Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you. I really enjoy it.
Well, I've been speaking with Mark Preston of Lean Applications. Thank you very much for watching.